Excellent. So we're live. Welcome to season 2 of Astronomy on Tap Jena. I'm very happy to be with you again, online again, because we have a guest today from a bit far away from Jena, all the way from Cyprus, Dr. Christina Orphanidou. Welcome.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you are logging in online. Please write on the chat where you're from. Tell us where you're from. And we will get this rolling. The first topic for this season is artificial intelligence. It's a topic that it's in our everyday life now. Even our phone cameras have a setting that says AI. Everything around us has AI. We listen about artificial intelligence, about machine learning, about robots, and many, many things. So today we will discuss what this is all about and find out more about it, go into the depths to understand and not be afraid of it in a sense. So we will discuss it in a scientific way. So let me open my notes. Christina is a dear friend of mine. We went to Oxford together to do our PhD. And we had a very good time. Lots of fun in Oxford.
We did, yes.
We did, yes. Many good parties, the good old times of Oxford. And Christina, as I said, did her PhD in Oxford and is an expert in data science and artificial intelligence. And she worked a bit in academia and now in industry. So Christina, I would like to ask you, how did you get into studying data science and artificial intelligence and become an expert on that? Did you always wanted to do that?
Yes. First of all, to say good evening from me as well, and very happy to be here, especially with you. Like you said, we shared a lot of good times in Oxford, and somehow at the end of it got a PhD also. Regarding my the fact that I did a PhD on AI and I'm working in this field, it came by chance because when I did my PhD, starting it's a lot of years ago, 18 years ago, something like that. AI was not really hot. It was an area that was starting to gain momentum. And I did my previous degrees firstly in engineering and then in applied mathematics and scientific computing. And then I got this, from my MSc thesis, got this very interesting proposition to work on a project which was going to use neural networks in order to map a person's voice, a source person's voice, to a target person's voice. And to be honest, when I started working on this, I didn't really understand what AI meant. I just thought I'm going to do some really cool mathematics and apply it in a very cool field. And it ended up being a project that used neural networks, machine learning, and that was how I entered this area, which I found very fascinating, and decided to continue after my PhD working on it.
That sounds amazing, and sometimes things by chance lead you to great discoveries and something that you actually get to love in the end, right?
Yes, indeed. Many things in life are by chance.
Yeah. Okay, before we continue, because you said neural networks and maybe our audience doesn't know what this is, can you explain basically in brief?
Yes. So neural networks, they are known from biology, from basically the way our brain synapses are connected in a very complicated network. So neural networks in the context of machine learning are mathematical models that are built in order to to emulate the structure of the neural network of the brain and to build mathematical models based on this structure. So this is a fundamental and very important mathematical structure in artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's the basis of deep learning also. And you know, I would say the techniques that have led to the biggest discoveries in AI.
That is amazing. We'll discuss a bit more about all these different types of AI later. You did a bit of work in academia, right? In the UK and in Cyprus. What did this involve?
Yeah, so like I said, in my PhD, I worked on natural language processing. So on a method for converting some audio signal of speech to a target voice. So even though it sounds a little bit suspicious, it's actually a very good application for the entertainment industry. You know, when you are making cartoons or films and you want to actually recreate someone's voice using someone else's voice. So this was the topic of my PhD. Then I moved into working in the biomedical field. So working in how machine learning can be used in order to get to model individuals' physiological signals and get alerts if something seems to be going wrong. So these are called early warning systems. They are very popular AI-driven applications where you are basically fusing a lot of information, a lot of data in order to detect any anomaly via a mathematical model, via a system.
And
so this is what I did later on.
Okay. So is it easier to do that via AI than, let's say, not using AI?
Yes. So, right now, the systems that are giving these alerts are rule-based. So what this means is that there are some rules set that say if someone's heart rate is over 140 or if someone's oxygen saturation is below 90 or something like that, you get an alert. But sometimes some adverse events are missed because with these rule-based approaches, you cannot look at a lot of parameters at the same time. So what do we say? The dimension of the space that you're looking at is limited. So these advanced mathematical techniques and AI techniques give you the opportunity to look at a lot of parameters at the same time in a higher dimension and to learn relationships that are maybe not very well understood by the experts, and see some relationship that is not there and give an alert. So if a combination of parameters looks like it's a little bit strange or an outlier, an anomaly, then you get an alert. So AI seems to give very good results in this area because of these characteristics of being able to infer relationships that are sometimes not even explainable, you know, using analytical approaches. Yeah.
Okay,
so it works well.
That works well, and that's why it's being applied every day now, right? In many fields, as we see in everyday life. So now you moved from academia to industry, let's say, in PwC Cyprus, and you are the leader of the data science group there, the AI group. What do you do for that?
Yes, so we are working in a consulting team. So we consult public and private organizations, the government also, or even, you know, the European Commission and other organizations on how they can use data and AI to do their work better, to have less costs, to manage their risks in a better way, or to to get decision support, to make better decisions. So we help organizations use data and AI, to make the way they work and the way they make decisions and manage risks better. And when you do that in a consulting environment, it's a little bit different than when you're working on developing AI, because you need to look at the issue of adopting new technologies like AI in a more holistic way. Mm-hmm. So you have to assess how it affects the organization's people, how it affects the organization's processes, how it affects decision making, mm-hmm. how it affects the culture of the organization. So it's not just, let's build, a high accuracy AI algorithm and start using it. It's a little bit more broad, the way that we need to address the issue of adopting AI or analytics. So this is what I do now. I work partially on the development of AI, but also on helping organizations adopt AI.
Okay, that is very nice. And I like the idea of looking at things as a whole and not just the algorithm, because also many people cannot understand how the algorithm works. You need to be a very good expert on something, writing algorithm and understanding and the mathematics and how to build it for a specific problem. So you approach it on the whole company, or I don't know what other, or the whole government, and this, how did you say, the human aspect of it?
Yes.
The everyday aspect, then I think this is quite...
It's very important. Exactly. It's very important. And strangely enough, it's usually the bottleneck in adopting AI. Usually you can, there are many systems that are not mature enough to work, but there are many systems that are also high accuracy systems, and that can be applied also in low risk situations. So they can be used, you can have the infrastructure and the tools, and very often there is a resistance to change, and there is also, because of lack of understanding, there is lack of trust. This is something we see also now with COVID, don't we? That what you don't understand very well is scary, and the same thing applies with AI. So this is very important. It's very important for AI to be explainable and to be transparent in, what data is it using, how is it making a decision, how was this decision validated, so that people can actually trust it and use it.
Yes, so it's not this black box that people think, oh, I don't know what is happening. I just put my data in there and something comes out. I don't know what that is. Yes. I don't know what happens in between. Yeah, so I think that's very important that you mentioned that, because also in astronomy, we often say, oh, I just put my data into this code. It's a black box. Something comes out. It has a good accuracy of 93%. It's amazing. Yeah. So what happens in between? So that's a very important step. And yes, when it has to do with the human parameter, it's very chaotic.
Yes, and also, we are diverting a bit, but I find this also very interesting. Recently, the European Commission, published a draft of the regulation on AI. So they want to regulate AI for good reasons, so that the systems are more trustworthy. They use good data, high quality data. They don't have bias in it. They don't discriminate in the way they make decisions. So there is all this regulation. And this is, I really agree that it should be regulated. And I believe that by being regulated, people will trust it. They will feel a little bit more safe in what each AI system is telling them to do. But this is important. It is mostly important for critical AI systems, like systems in transport, in healthcare. Maybe it's not so critical in, you know, what Netflix will recommend to us as the best movie to watch, you know,
Yes,
which
yes.
is something that uses AI. Yeah, so I believe that for the critical applications, it's very important to regulate and to have these, you know, all these rules and safeguards for
Yeah.
how they should be developed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important. Thank you for mentioning that. It's a very important topic because, as you said, if you don't trust it, then it cannot develop further. It stops.
Mm.
It does not
Yeah.
apply it as you want. So we discussed what artificial intelligence is, and is it hard to study for someone that would like to go into this field? What do you think?
So
What do you suggest?
yes, it's the hardest thing to know. I'm so smart. No, no, actually, you know, I think so. Definitely, someone needs to have a good mathematical foundation. So usually, you see really good data scientists and AI scientists and engineers. Uh, the usual profile is someone with a STEM background. You have a lot of mathematicians, physicists, computer engineers, electrical engineers, people that have studied quantitative finance also. In general, you know, a good mathematical foundation and good programming skills. Having said that, you know, now the world is turning a lot to a system of reskilling, of giving the opportunity for people to reskill. So someone can go into AI and data science, even if they studied something different. No, by taking, you know, some online courses, some certifications, if you are good in mathematics, you can be a very good data scientist. Definitely. So it's not that hard if you have a good grasp of mathematics.
That's good. So guys,
Yeah.
don't be afraid of AI if you like
Yes.
study it. So my next question, uh, when did AI first enter our lives as, you know, as what we say, artificial intelligence, and is it a menace or heaven? Can it be dangerous?
Yes. So this is interesting. When did it enter our lives? Because the term AI entered our lives in the 50s. You know, so one of the first scientists that started talking about AI was Alan Turing.
Okay.
My favorite scientist, actually. So, Alan Turing, you know, started this theory and wrote this seminal paper in 1950, where, you know, he was saying if the way humans make decisions has some logic behind it, you know, and some inference from outside parameters, then why can't we program this? Why can't we program this logic and this inference into a machine? So a few years later, in the middle of the 50s, I think it was 1956, there was this big conference in Dartmouth, and they used the term AI for the first time then. And it's very funny what happened there, because they were all, a lot of scientists, very excited about AI. Let's start working on it. And in the end, they couldn't agree, you know, they couldn't work together. I don't know, is this classic?
It's classic. Yeah, it's a bit classic.
So kind of, even though that conference was the first one in which they coined, you know, this term, AI, nothing much came out of it. You know?
Okay.
Apart from the terminology and the, I would say, the commitment to start working on it. Okay. However, for many, many years, for at least 30 or more years, it was, even though algorithms were being developed and people, mathematicians and scientists were working on this a lot, it was not possible to actually build very good AI systems because there was not enough computational power or the ability of computers to store this amount of data and process it. So actually, the applications of AI have only been flourishing in the last years, in the last decade or two, because the advancements in computational power and processing have finally happened that permit this processing, this parallel processing of this large amount of data. So it was computer science that actually enabled AI to flourish.
Yeah.
Now, is it a menace? So, everything in the hands of the wrong person can be a menace. So, you can, what AI does is that it programs, it's a system that is programmed to achieve a goal, and you teach it to achieve a goal. So, of course, you can teach a system to achieve a bad goal, or sometimes you can train a system to achieve a good goal, but the system will do bad things on the way, to achieving the good goal. So definitely, you can have systems, AI systems that can be programmed to do something bad. But most AI, I believe, is for the good. I mean, these are rare cases. And but that's why it's very important for people to be vigilant, to not blindly follow and accept, everything that comes their way, to use judgment on what systems and what decisions they should be following. So I would say AI is mainly a source of good. It can be bad in the hands of bad people, but yeah, we are both developers and users have to be responsible for their actions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's important.
And if it's regulated, as you said before, it's even you can make it better. It's not.
Yes, exactly.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that is it's a good thing you mentioned that before. Right. There's a lot of applications for AI. You mentioned healthcare. We use it in astronomy because we have big data and we want to analyze them, and you cannot do it by hand anymore, or to look at all these millions of galaxies in the night sky by eye, and you need automatic methods. Where else is it used, AI?
So, the applications we mentioned are like the more critical, important ones. So the number one is healthcare, where, you have most applications. You have systems that provide decision support, systems that can diagnose, a disease either from vital sign data or from images. And you have, systems, AI systems, other critical systems in transportation, for example. We all are aware of, autonomous cars now. Autonomous cars use what is called machine vision, which is an area of AI where you are teaching a system to recognize what they see so they can navigate safely. So we have in transport, and we have also in our everyday life and already experiencing AI without knowing it. One example is the facial recognition on our mobile phone, that is very good for me because I keep forgetting my password. So, and you also can know the days that your face looks really bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so our mobile phones have AI, voice recognition and also the facial recognition, and other maybe simpler applications of AI in our lives are the recommendation systems that are being used by retailers. Amazon is using recommendation systems, Netflix, Alibaba. Amazon says that 35% of their sales come from the recommendations. When you bought the Darth Vader mask, maybe you're interested in a lightsaber also.
Yeah.
This is actually coming from AI, from
That's a lot,
the
35%.
recommended. Yes. So this is something very big, and it's something I see also in my life in the corporate world, that the building customer relationships using AI is now very popular. So even the marketing you receive on Facebook is very personalized nowadays, because you are more likely to respond to marketing which is targeting you. All this is enabled by artificial intelligence. And it's really in our everyday lives, and we don't even know it.
Yes.
And other ways, other applications are systems that use AI for security. So, for example, PayPal is using AI to verify the security of transactions. So they're looking for anomalies in your transactional behavior, and building, AI models that can find this irregular behavior and give an alert so some transaction is not approved, for example. So it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't know about PayPal and a few more things that you mentioned. So it's great. It's great for even me to learn that, because I think we don't realize that we think that AI is in the future, but AI is actually here, happening now.
It's actually here. Yes, yes. Yeah.
So, yes, let's see. How can it improve our life? I mean, we mentioned a lot of things with recommendation, from films to to shopping, to Facebook, to traveling, all these travel engines, to healthcare.
So it can improve our lives in this by making our life more convenient, firstly. So all these things, the recommendations, it's more like a sort of curation of our activities, provides a curation that maybe makes our decisions easier. On the other hand, it makes our choices smaller. But that's one way. But, the real value of AI is in other areas, obviously, in healthcare, making, keeping us healthier, making diagnoses better, providing decision support to clinicians, the use of autonomous transport. This is something that I think was said first by Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm going to repeat it. I'm not the first one to say it. If you think of that the automobile accidents are such a big cause of death. It's a top 10 cause of death globally. If autonomous driving improves this just by 1%, and it's small 1%, it's still going to be a huge gain for the world, for humankind, to have 1% fewer road accidents every year. So there is a very big potential. I'm focusing more on humans, because if I start talking about companies and organizations, you can also have a lot of benefits in cutting down your costs, in being more efficient, and in making better decisions.
Yeah, that's true. Hiring the right people. If you have, if you have, as you said before, if your sample is not biased, so the data your algorithm are not biased, then you can hire the best person for the job.
Exactly. Because, the highest performers.
Now companies use AI to hire, so they look through CVs and hire people, right?
Did you know that now some dating sites are using AI to match people? I mean, and
Facebook.
why not?
Also Facebook.
I don't know. So, the same way that, Amazon is telling us this is the best, toilet seat for you. It's maybe in the dating sites, Why not? You know, they're still using, they're using a technique called collaborative filtering, which looks at what items you like and also what items similar people like you like. So, you know, why not use it in dating sites?
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
using other kind of items as characteristics.
It's also shopping. It's also shopping. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Good shopping. Good shopping. So
Yes, yes.
no
Definitely.
offense. No offense. We love dating sites.
Yes.
So and now we reached the time for our game. I will have a sip of beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
So
I have coffee. I'm a loser. I have coffee.
Because in Cyprus the drinks come out later, Christina.
Yes, at 11 I will open the beer. Yes.
It's a cultural divide.
Yes.
Here at 11 people sleep. They say the third dream, as we say. So, true or false? Right. For true, you go like this. For false, you go like this. And guys from home, you can also vote true or false, and then we will say a few words. I mean, these are easy. It's about this topic, right? So first, AI will solve oral business problems. All the problems in the business world will be solved with AI.
Not all of them.
It was a bit optimistic from this.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, it provides help, but it's not the savior.
It doesn't solve all the problems. You know, especially because most problems in businesses are human related. So
yes. Yeah. And we know how chaotic human nature is, but this is the good thing about it. And this will bring us to one next question, not this one, the next one, or something. It's next. Number 2, an AI algorithm can handle any information you throw at it.
Any information?
A single AI algorithm can...
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Why? Well, no. Well, you need a different, you need a different approach depending on what you want the output to be, depending on the quality of your data. You know, if you have a lot of faith in your data, you can use this model. If you think your data is noisy, it's not so good, you use a different model. You might want to do a classification. You might want to do a regression. You might want to do a segmentation. There are, depending on the problem and the data. And of course, if you have images or structured or unstructured data, again, the approach is different. So there is no single super duper algorithm.
So, and guys from home, you learned some buzzwords now of AI. Right. 4, AI will outsmart humans.
Yeah, in some things, yes.
Okay, that's also an opinion. I mean, we know the competitions, chess competitions between AI systems and Kasparov or other great chess players, and that the AI system won.
Yes, you know what I think? I think that in the chess, why can AI outsmart? Because you have a finite number of options. It's a very big number of options, but it's a finite number of options. And you can actually define, there is a logic. So this is something, AI is very good at learning and adapting into these kind of, situations where you have a finite number of options. The human mind is so complex, definitely the number of options and thoughts are not finite, and also they are not understood. Decision making is not, Alan Turing said, we decide with logic, but Eleni, we don't.
No, there's nothing to do with that.
Yes. No. I think that definitely in some of these tasks, that, that the human mind is just not able to process simultaneously a lot of information in the same way that AI can do, that the mathematical system can do, then AI will outsmart us. But AI cannot outsmart us in other situations that are complex and are not explainable or don't have finite options.
Yeah, everything that has to do with emotion that we still don't understand how. I mean, of course, everything is controlled by our brain, but we don't know why we make decisions based on emotion. I mean,
yeah, we don't know the brain so well.
No, yeah. This is why these dating sites are so successful.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, right. AI will replace all our jobs. They will steal our jobs.
Except from mine.
I also don't think AI wants to be an astrophysicist. I mean,
yes. So, okay, let me see how to put this. So, for all the reports by big organizations like the World Economic Forum, they say AI will bring more jobs than actually take away more jobs. We should be looking at this as a change, a revolution. We had the industrial revolution, a few years ago, and it didn't increase unemployment. Just people had to learn different trades. So even now, I think we need to think of it as a situation where AI will replace some jobs, but it will replace the jobs we don't want to do. So when you have situations, when you have assembly work, for example, or copying and pasting and integrating and, all these kind of things, all these things will be replaced, and they are being replaced by automation and AI. But this doesn't mean that then people will be unemployed. It just means that they need to reskill, they need to do something else. And also, I think something that I keep telling people, and I think is very important, is that we need to focus also the education system in soft skills more, because the AI can never have soft skills. So AI cannot have communication skills, empathy, strategic thinking out of the box. AI can think only within the box because it has taught itself to think from a box, to think within the box. Yeah. So AI will not steal all our jobs. It will not steal. It will take some jobs we don't want. So we need to be vigilant and to prepare ourselves for different kinds of jobs and for building different kinds of skills. Okay. Yeah. So this is my opinion.
I think I like your opinion very much, and I agree with that. We need to be agile and always also learn new things. I mean, this is what I learned as an astronomer. Every day we learn something new and we adapt, and something new comes and we evolve. So I know it's convenient to do the same thing. I mean, for some people, it's convenient to do the same thing all their lives, but it would be better if you had an AI system to help you do the boring things, and then you did something more.
Also, an AI, to check on you on something would be useful. But, I think, Eleni, this is I repeat myself, but I'm passionate about it. I think the education system all over the world has to change. We no longer need so much to learn things. I mean, look at us. I am half of the day, I'm on Wikipedia looking for things. Information is now so accessible. We need to learn skills. And, by learning skills and enhancing our soft skills, we are surviving in a world of AI. Better.
That's very important, yes. And critical thinking, as you said earlier, to be able to recognize what is good and what is not.
Exactly, yes.
So let's continue with our discussion. You did very well in the true or false.
Right. Yes.
And we know about Siri and Alexa and Google. Are these AI?
Yes. Yeah. So Siri and Alexa, they use AI.
Yes.
They use what is called speech recognition. So speech recognition is a machine learning approach or, area where software can listen to speech, to audio, and recognize what is being said. And then they provide a response, and this response can be based on AI, or this response can be rule-based, can be based on rules. Okay. So if you hear A, if you hear cat, answer mouse, okay. Or yeah. So they are using AI. Yeah.
Yeah, my son is playing sometimes with Alexa saying bad words, and then Alexa responds, "That's not very nice," and then shuts off. And then it's like, go bye-bye.
Yes. Good. Alexa likes manners. Yes.
That's good. That's good. Yes, exactly. So we said about our jobs. They're not gonna steal our jobs, but okay. I have now. We go a bit to the future or to the now. I don't know, because he's making it now. Elon Musk, he's making a humanoid. Okay. They announced it on AI Day, and the name is Optimus. Amazing. It reminds me of Transformers.
Better than his son's name.
Not like his son's name, something people can actually say.
Yes.
It will be able to do repetitive tasks and lower the cost of labor. Okay. It will also be used as a personal helper, go shopping, go to the supermarket, or, clean the floor or wash the dishes that I really don't like doing. Okay, so do you welcome this development in our future lives, or do you see a catch?
Yeah, so no, I welcome this development. I think, but with everything, it depends on how it's being used. So I wondered a bit, in general, I wonder a little bit why we need humanoid robots. Why do we need humanoid robots? Why, since it's a machine, why do we want it to look like a human? There are studies that show when you have, for example, when you have robots that are being used to care for the elderly, for example, that, it makes a difference if they have this humanoid form. So I get that. I think in general, I welcome it. The catch is how we use it. It can be very useful. They can perform some tasks that humans cannot perform. They can be put in risky situations that humans cannot be put or don't want to be put. You can put a humanoid robot, send the robot to Mars, and to explore or something like that. But the humanoid aspect, we need to be vigilant to not end up relying on humanoid robots for human relations. This is the catch I see, that we don't want to lose our humanity, because we have these humanoid robots. But they can definitely be great helpers and make our lives better in many ways.
So you think we should draw a line and not try to recreate to make a human being in a robot form?
Yeah, well, we can't anyway, we can't. And I think Elon Musk is, I don't remember exactly, but, he's saying the robot will not know how to do this and that, there will be controlling it, but it's easy to lose control on what the robot can do or not. So I definitely think they can be very good tools, but we need to be careful.
Yes. We discussed already about AI and the future and how it changes our lives. So we will skip that one. It already improves our lives, and it will keep in our lives as long as we also evolve with it and we start understanding what it is. Okay, so this brings us to my last question, and then we have some questions from the audience. Guys, if you have more questions, type them now and we will answer them after this last one. Last time we met and we were having a nice glass of wine, you told me about green AI, and I want to learn more. What is green AI?
So now, as you know, well, because of climate change, which is real and created by humans, there is this, need for technologies and systems to also be sustainable. And AI, because it's relying on these huge data sets, on processing these huge data sets, sometimes on high performance computers, the carbon footprint can be very big during the development of AI systems. So green AI is this new initiative of urging people to build innovative AI, but also takes into account computational cost and carbon footprint. So we want AI systems to be built and to find new techniques of learning and processing that are not so detrimental for the environment, don't have such a big carbon footprint. And there are many initiatives also through Horizon programs of the European Commission for researchers to find novel ways of training models or of sharing infrastructure and, moving into federated machine learning and all these kind of applications that share resources and don't have such a big impact on the environment. Yeah, so this is very positive if it happens.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, we should evolve and make things better, but also preserve our environment is very important.
Yes.
Very important. So great. Let's see what our audience. So let's see what you have written me here. Sotirios Zekas, he would like to ask if you believe that decoding of human brain is an essential condition in order to achieve AGI, artificial general intelligence.
The coding of the human mind.
Decoding.
And decoding the human mind. Yeah, so I mean, the whole idea of AI is also, the black box. So in that, you don't actually need to decode it in order to code it, in order to build it. So I'm not sure you need to, I mean, it's a difficult question, Sodiri. So I'm not sure you need to decode it. You need to find a way to model it, but not necessarily to decode it. So you don't need like an analysis, an analytical approach of modeling and understanding the brain. Yeah, that's what I think.
Very good. Okay, yeah, hello guys from Berlin and Jena and from Königswinter. Hey guys, and from Greece, yes. Okay, so another question. What do you think the most oh my God, the beer has got into me. What do you think the most impactful application of AI is? And do you think that the future of AI will be accepted for patents inventions in the future? So what is the most impactful application, and if we can use it for patents and inventions?
So I think that the most important, it's not one application, but I think the biggest impact will be in healthcare, definitely. And it's the area that is already the most advanced in using AI and where AI has also been adopted already. So I mean, I can't think of a single application that is the most important, but I do think the biggest impact will be in healthcare. So now, whether AI will be used in patents, yes, it's already been used in patents. Yes, you can already get a patent on AI technologies, but the European Patent Organization, the EPO, they are, they are still building the frameworks for the proper way of accepting, of providing patents on AI. But yes, this is already, it's already happening. It's underway. Yeah.
So what do you think? And you said that. Okay, I think we answered everything. If I read this correctly, because the last one is the most impactful application of AI that will be achieved. And you said healthcare, so yeah. Good. Well, if there are any more questions, guys, type them. I will send them to Christina because I already took a lot of her time. And we are busy people.
Fine.
We are busy people.
As you know, I'm baking a cake.
Yes, I know, and I'm very jealous. I want.
I'll send you a picture.
Yes, if only you could eat the picture.
Yes.
Maybe that will be the future.
Yes.
That would be an amazing.
That would be a good application. That would help my life a lot. Being not quenching my thirst, satisfying my hunger by looking at a picture instead of eating the whole cake. Yeah.
And also good for my diet. Very good.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, very good. Yes. Christina, thank you so much. I think we learned a lot of things.
Thank you for having me.
It was an amazing conversation. I want to keep talking for another hour, but
no.
But no. The next hour should be only with drinks and cake, and in another setting. So we will do this sometime in the future. Great.
Thank you very much for having me. And anyone is can get in touch with me with any questions or any help. I'm happy to help.
I have tagged you everywhere on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. So guys, if you have questions about AI or you want to follow this career path, I'm sure Christina can share a few insights. And don't go away yet, guys, because there is a quiz coming, because I see some people leaving. There is a quiz. But I will let Christina go because of the cake. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Eleni, and everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.